Welcome to a new edition of the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino. On this episode, we talk with consultant, coach, survivor, and personal development specialist Ryan Lindner. He is a personal development specialist who has worked as a behavioral coach for clients and top organizations all over the world. After 2 sudden, unexplained cardiac arrests at a young age, he began to explore different perspectives with clients that come with any profound, life-changing event. If you aren't living, you're dying. It was uncommon for Ryan to teeter on unconsciousness even at times while working with a client, requiring him to prioritize his own energy and time masterfully and assist clients to do the same thing. He's got a great, eye-opening story. Enjoy.
Well, hey, thank you for taking a minute out to be on my show today. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Looking forward to it.
Me too. So before we get into your life, there's a lot going on as a consultant, a coach, personal development specialist. I want to know from you, the last 3 years, the whole pandemic's played on each of us in a very specific way, and I'm curious how you survived that time period now that the world's waking up, and how it's changed the way that you live your life and the way that you conduct business now.
Yeah, I think it is learning how to make everything portable, mobile. I have clients all over the country. I have team members all over the country. It's really creating it more as a lifestyle than anything else.
So probably in your line of work, you probably have seen a spike because the whole focus on personal development, mental health, and all of that has been pretty epic. We've talked about it more, I think, than we ever had in our collective history.
Absolutely. It is certainly, the wellness. A lot more people are utilizing those services, so there's a spike there. But I do work a lot with organizations. What I've seen, I've done a lot of consulting and things like that, building programs, building departments for companies. I'm doing one right now. I've seen the dynamic of workplace changes as well. And in some ways, you're more disconnected with team members, so you have to use other methods. And you also don't have a window into what their experience is. So in some cases, turnover increases. You're not working with people so much anymore. You're working, separated all over the place. So some interesting corporate effects there as well.
Yeah, very true. Yeah. So let's get to the heart and the essence of what you do for your work on a daily basis. And I'm going to put you hypothetically in front of a bunch of third graders at a career day in elementary school. One of the kids looks up at you and asks you, what do you do for a living? How do you answer them?
I help people who, people who do all different types of jobs. I help them be at their best. So that's one thing I do. I work with them to perform as best as they possibly can. And I help companies that hire those people. I help them create a culture that allows that as well. So I help to transform company cultures.
So Ryan, let's say you're the third grader and somebody's there talking about their career and they say, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? How do you answer them?
If I'm the third grader?
Yeah.
I would say definitely I want to help people. I want to help people. There's always been a part of me that feels like work doesn't have to be so stuffy and corporate-like. So I think for me, I would want to be in a profession that really helps people, helps them be healthy. As a third grader, that's how to answer it, and that's how I did. It helps them be healthy, and there's such a large mental component of that people don't think about.
So, are you happy with how everything turned out with the profession that you have and the work that you do?
I am. I never knew it was a possibility to go into this profession. I never knew it existed, coaching and all that kind of stuff. I sort of fell into it. But I love the training aspect of it. I love helping make information digestible. I even worked for a neuroscience company that studied, how information sticks. And, I kind of function with the idea that, companies, if they hire people and not roles, and they really understand what does that mean, that's how they keep people around for a really long time. But I am happy with it. I consider myself a little bit of a Swiss Army knife in different industries.
So let me ask you this. Let's get to the kind of the core of what makes you tick and how you became who you are. Let's go back to your childhood. Talk to me a little bit about where you were born and raised and growing up and how these seeds got planted in you to want to help and to want to kind of sprout into who you are today.
Well, I grew up, and I still am an introvert. And so I always struggled. I always struggled to kind of fit in. And I also had really, really bad anxiety. So as a result of that, I was always drawn to kind of personal development and different ways to get out of that. Didn't know what I was going to do. I kind of wandered for a long time. Went to school, kind of did, studied wellness and training and things like that. Fell into the profession. Received an offer from a doctor who works for this really big wellness company that had a military contract. So I was like, oh, interesting. I didn't know that was a profession that I could do. Kind of fell into it and fell in love with it. I'd work with one-on-one with clients, military, and I found out that me being an introvert or the anxiety or any of that type of stuff, I could relate really well with a lot of people going through that same stuff. I was a people pleaser, kind of really struggled to fit in. And, I since, I have a little bit of PTSD. I've had a couple near-death experiences that really transformed coaching as well. And then after I was doing a lot of one-on-one sessions, I've done about 6,000 with the military. I started working with companies, and I'd build out their training departments. I would track things like turnover. I would do management trainings. I'd have teams all over the country. And that's kind of the progression of that.
I always find that, the more I do interviews with people that have gone through near-death experiences, I think there's something very special. Like, I have a son who's in the autism spectrum, and I think there's something about the special needs community where there is something miraculous and special about these human beings on this planet. And there's a lot of people that believe that. And I believe the same way about people that have survived and that have come back. And I'm curious for you, because you see glimpses of the other side that we're always also curious about. I think that's the fascination with being a human, is that we're just not sure where all of this goes. But you all have this insight that the rest of us don't. Is there any insight, anything that you saw or that you felt that has kind of made you feel like you wouldn't want to impart that onto other people?
Unfortunately, and sometimes I joke and I say things like, I saw a red light, it was a little hot, but, I did not see anything, unfortunately. My understanding is only about 10% of near-death experience result in someone seeing something. So it's not the majority of them. And I've had two. They were a day apart. So I had two there, and unfortunately I didn't see anything there, but it did transform, my life in many, many ways.
Who's been a role model or a hero for you in life?
A lot of people might say this, but my dad. I always felt loved, and I had good parents, and I think that allowed me to feel, if I didn't feel comfortable, with the anxiety outside of the home, at least I didn't have to come home to a terrible situation.
So let's up the ante a little bit. If you could meet anybody alive on the planet right now and spend some time with them, who'd it be?
I'd love to chat with Eckhart Tolle.
Cool. What fuels your day? What motivates you? We all have these things that we want to accomplish and do in life. But what is the ultimate motivator for you to get through a day and to feel good?
Feeling like a lot of people talk about their purpose in life, and but when you meet people, a lot of what they do is they give you their, oh, what do you do? And it's like they give you their resume. So same thing when you ask people about their purpose in life. It's usually, about a role. I've worked with a lot of nurses, a lot of soldiers, and they think that role makes them who they are. And I challenge that a lot because who would you be without the role? So for me, the purpose of my life is to feel like I'm fully expressing or knowing that person. And I know that sounds a little out there, but it's not the achievement of any particular thing. It's really to live in the present and appreciate it. And I think my answer is really influenced by the near-death experience. I don't want to move too fast and get too busy. So what motivates me, I think, is really just taking in as much beauty as I can, because I never know when my clock stops.
So what are you the proudest of that you've done in your life up to this point? What brings you the most pride?
I think a lot of the content I've created, it's not the talks or the company work or the coaching. I think it's the content, the writings, the books. I've received a couple awards, made it to number 4 on one book on Amazon. I think it's not even that. It's having, even if you connect with one person, they're like, wow, that really affected me. That was it for me right there.
So if you could run into the younger version of yourself, let's say you have a dream tonight, and you could give that younger version of you a piece of advice based on the life you've lived and the experiences you've had, what would you tell that young version?
Don't be afraid to, I think when you have anxiety and you're introvert, and in most cases more introverted than any of my clients that I've had, which is not quite shyness. There's a difference there, but I think don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid of uncertainty. And I work a lot with people who are in management trainings and things like that. It's not that leaders have everything figured out, because a lot of times they don't. But they're confident anyway in their uncertainty. They're confident in their ability to figure things out as they go. So in a lot of startup companies, which I've consulted with, there's tons of uncertainty, lots of ambiguity. So I think I'd tell my younger self, don't wait until you're certain or comfortable or confident in knowing something. You may not, but just trust yourself. Just put yourself out there. Just try.
So, Ryan, everyone has a perception of you, your family, your friends, your readers, clients, colleagues, but ultimately you live your life. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
And this is, I really mean this. I feel like I can't define myself. And I feel like it's a healthy place to be, because I would just give you a list of about me, the resume, what I've done, that kind of thing. And I feel like, I have this conversation a lot with people, and we learn all sorts of things about each other in certain circumstances. Things change, and oh wow. I think we're verbs, not nouns. That's my point. We're verbs, not nouns. And for me, I don't know if I could just describe it without giving you a whole bunch of nouns.
Ryan, this has been great, man. Thank you for opening up. Before we get out of the proverbial digital door here, I want to make sure that everyone knows where to get your writing, learn more about you, hire you, anything revolving around your world. Where can they go?
They can check my work out on Amazon. Just by Googling me or searching for me there. But rslindner.com, RSLINDNER, rslindner.com, or halfknownlifebook.com. And all my social media is in there as well.
Perfect, Ryan. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you for your story. Thank you for opening up. Best of luck with everything.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to another famous interview with Joe Dimino, where we cover the world of art, literature, business, spirituality, music, and more from around the globe. If you want to hear more interviews, visit the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino channel on YouTube. Find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thanks again for listening, and until next time.